Hi guys, welcome to our daily encounter. As we do our reading today, we could take note of how Exodus chapter 4 ends and how Exodus chapter 5 ends and the contrast there. Exodus chapter 4 ends with uh, Moses and Aaron going down to the elders of Israel and proclaiming that God was going to deliver them. And it says, so the people believed and they heard that Yahweh cared about the sons of Israel and that he had seen their affliction. So they bowed low in worship. So chapter 4 ends with the people believing in the message of deliverance and worshiping Yahweh. But then you just get one chapter over. At the end of chapter 5, you find that they say there in verse 21, and they said to them, that is to Moses and Aaron, may Yahweh look upon you and judge, for you have made us a foul smell in Pharaoh's sight and in the sight of his servants, to put a sword in their hand to kill us. And what had happened in between was when Moses goes to Pharaoh and asks that he let the people go worship the Lord in the wilderness for 3 days. Pharaoh says, you know what, the people are being idle, and he made it even worse for them. He said, you still have to make your quota of bricks, but you have to gather your own straw. And of course, that was an impossible demand. And it caused many of the foremen, the Israelite foremen, to be beaten and just cause, very much stress on them. And so they, because of that, take it out on Moses and Aaron for even coming down and even talking about this whole deliverance thing and saying, you made us a foul smell in Pharaoh's sight, in the sight of his servants. And so what happened is upon first hearing about deliverance, they were excited and they worshiped God. But once they had to go back to their jobs, they had to go back to doing their work, and they saw that they were even more oppressed than before, they became despondent, discouraged, and angry. And that can happen to people when it comes to their relationship with Jesus Christ. They hear the message of deliverance. They hear that God has come and sent Jesus Christ to die on the cross for their sins, to deliver them from the penalty of sin, to release them from this world and to set them apart from this world, and to ultimately deliver them for eternal life. And they're excited. They believe, they're excited, they worship and bow low before the Lord, and it's a wonderful experience. But then they go back to the world and they go back to the day-to-day activities of life, and they find that they're interacting with a world that isn't quite so excited about the decision that they made. Perhaps they are ostracized by their family. Maybe they're criticized by their coworkers. Maybe their friends don't understand why they don't still go out and engage in the activities that they engaged in before. And there's friction, there's consternation, there's this conflict that takes place. And a person might do the same thing that the children of Israel did here and begin to think, you know what? Being a Christian just made me a foul smell to everyone that I'm around. All the people that I hung out with before, my friends, my family, my coworkers, it's just made life all that more difficult. And if we're not careful, we can become also dejected, despondent, angry, and that sort of thing. But as we continue to read, we're going to find that this is just part of the process. God's not done yet. He is going to bring the deliverance. He will bring them out of Egyptian bondage and bring them into the new land, where they will be able to spread out and they'll be able to live in houses they didn't build. They'll be living in this wonderful land flowing with milk and honey. It's going to be a great experience. But this was just part of the process. And God wanted to, or God allowed them to go through this, for one, to show his power and his glory, and to really demonstrate who he was in that situation. And so things had to get worse before they got better, but they were going to get better. And that's something that we have to remember too. It might very well be that we experience something similar to what the children of Israel did, as mentioned, but we got to remember that that's part of the process. There's going to be friction. When the kingdom of heaven meets the kingdoms of this world, there's going to be friction. And that's to be expected. But what we have to do is just hold tight. Continue to believe, continue to worship the Lord, continue to trust in that deliverance that He has promised us, knowing that ultimately, in the end, there will be deliverance. When this world passes away, we'll still remain, and we'll be able to enjoy a land flowing with milk and honey. That is, we will be able to experience the new heavens and a new earth, and resurrection life for eternity, where there's no crying, no sickness, no death, no mourning, and there will be all these wonderful experiences. But for this short time, for this short span of time, it's true that we might have to suffer some conflict. We do have to take up our cross and follow the Lord, deny ourselves, take up our cross and follow Him. But always keeping that in context, that this momentary light affliction is producing for us an eternal weight of glory. And so hopefully our reading today, but also as we continue in future readings, we'll see this plan of God really work out, even though the people don't understand it here early on. And God is going to do some good things for them. And they're going to end up much better off than they were before, under God's guidance and under God's wise provision. So these are some things we can reflect on and think about as we do our reading today. And with that, guys, I do thank you for watching the video today. Hope you guys have a great day. Love you guys. God bless.